Hello. In the beginning, there was me, Dr. Roger Gewolb. And welcome to our program, The Gospel According to Dr. Roger, the program where we tell you the unvarnished truth, no gaslighting, no obfuscation, no messing about. My guests also, I promise, we tell you exactly what is happening in the world, in the news, no fooling about. We tell you what the big stories are really all about and what the big people are saying and what is wrong with them or right with them. And to continue with the theme that we were speaking about a couple of weeks ago with my lovely wife, Dr. Sheila Gewolb, this huge issue of older people sitting in the park, sitting at home watching afternoon television, wanting to work. Golden grafters, we call them, going out to do volunteer work, which keeps most charities afloat, but they'd like to get paid. Our country is in a mess. Most countries are in a mess. Most of them run, we feel, by fools. Yeah, we're always complaining about it. And yet, these people with decades and decades of experience, um, they'd like to be paid, but nobody wants to pay them. Nobody values their experience, unlike the East, in the Far East, where they do. So our golden grafters, our Gen G movement, which is just taking off like a skyrocket. There are 8 million people in the UK over 70 years old, and only 500,000 of those are employed, working. And half of those are self-employed, running their own business. It's pathetic. These people want to get out there and contribute, and they've got the experience and the knowledge and the expertise to do things right. Not like so many of these much younger politicians and leaders that step into jobs and business people and mess things up because they don't want to listen. They've got no idea what they're doing. And we don't honor the wisdom of older people here. We don't want to know. And that needs to change. And that's what we're all about. So we have a new Facebook community. You'll learn how to join that. We want to have millions of people join that community. We want to be huge and become a real force for improvement. So I want to welcome back to part two, Sheila, my wife, the lovely Dr. Sheila Gewolb, and let's see what she has to say. She was quite exciting last time in terms of her views, and I'm sure she's got some very interesting points to make today. Hello, Sheila.
Hi, Roger.
How are you this evening?
Good, thank you. Good
Good,
to talk to you. Yeah.
good. Okay. So we're going to continue with what we were talking about last time, um, which was what to do about Generation G, what to do about the golden grafters. And, there's been a lot of talk recently about older people facing financial pressures, particularly during this cost of living crisis, and a lack of support services. And my goodness, after today's uh, spring statement from Rachel Reeves, cutting again the poor, the disabled, the disadvantaged. I mean, just attacking people who can least afford it. That issue is even worse. How do you think the golden grafters generation can help reduce some of these struggles for individuals over 70 who still want to work?
Well, it's about agency. It's about having the choice whether you work or you don't. And I think one of the big mantras at the moment is get more people back to work. You heard the Chancellor today. We need more people in work. Yes. And there are lots of people, there's a whole cohort of people over 70 who would really like to work. We're really lucky. Once you draw your national pension, you're not obliged to pay social insurance anymore and contribute to the coffers of the NHS. But we do pay taxes, and there's a whole area there that they're ignoring. That there needs to be a change of mindset. The government need to realise that lots of older people want to help themselves, not live on benefits, not to have to worry about heating or
But
eating.
let me ask you. I mean, we will have, please God, one day a Facebook community of, many hundreds of thousands of people who are in over 50. As you said, the line is, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. And, many of them want to be useful, want to work, and would like to get paid for it as well. How can our movement, the Golden Grafters, Gen G, how specifically can we go out and encourage business and government to hire more senior workers or offer them flexible opportunities?
So we need a concerted campaign. We need to do some lobbying. We need to have a voice. That's really important. And the more people that we can, we can bring in to help support an idea like this. I think the biggest thing is people who feel like this, who are disenchanted with the fact that they had to finish work at a certain age, need to know they're not on their own out there. They need to know that there are other people who feel the same way. And we need to start doing some lobbying. We need to start speaking to employers or to government to get to speak to government and employers. And the employment leaders need to recognize the value of these people. It's not just actually an older person going to work, it's the experience and the support they can give younger members of staff,
Sure.
and it doesn't have to be full time. We need to have a measure there of a flexibility that will allow older people. It shouldn't be, a 7-day week or nothing. There should be maybe part-time opportunities. There's a whole area there where older people could contribute through paying taxes if they're earning and being valued for what they have to offer.
Okay. But there's a lot of discouragement out there, and how do we support people in not being discouraged because they're turned away because of their age or whatever? And what if they need funding to start their own business or training and development? How do we deal with all that? How do we get awareness of all those sources of training, development, funding, employment by business or government? How do we get those people to sit up and pay attention and not understand and begin to understand the opportunity that they're missing? Lobbying is one thing, but there you're just talking to some politicians who will do something or not do something. How do we get it more public, other than really it's social media, isn't it? And just the Facebook community of people talking to each other and starting local initiatives, don't you think? Or have you got some other ideas?
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got the Prince's Trust that supports young people with startups. Perhaps we need a sort of a version of sort of startup help for older people. You've got the Youth 3A. You've got various other age concern. You've got various other organizations that
Let,
already support older
let,
people.
let, let
And
me
we
inter
need to bring them on board.
let me interrupt you. That's a very good idea, a Prince's Trust type thing for older people.
Thank you.
That's probably, the quickest way, isn't it?
Well, we have older people within government who are support. We've got various
And,
members of the, of the House of Lords, of the House of Commons, who have got roles to help support older
and
people. Perhaps we start need to speaking to them.
and we got an older king. Let's go bother him.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now, many older individuals are volunteering their time, to help others. It's actually, from what your research shows, it's what keeps many charities afloat. And yet, as you pointed out, many of them would obviously prefer to be paid for their contributions. What do you think holds back employers from recognizing the value of these older workers, even in volunteer roles very often?
So the volunteer roles tend to be in charities. So you're not going to have a charity necessarily employing a volunteer. And a volunteer, I wouldn't like to think that somebody who has been volunteering will suddenly stop because they're being offered paid employment. So again, it's this balance, it's this flexibility, this agency of having a choice. But even, somebody with so much expertise could be recognized through previous employers through a consultancy status, a few hours a week, just something to recognize that they are still valued and they've got something to offer. I keep going back to this having something to offer. But we need social media, we need a community, we need voices of people coming together who feel the same way. And this is what I'm hoping we will start to see. Yeah.
We need our own Saturday afternoon protest marches.
I don't know about marching. No, you might, people might prefer to go to a building and sort of have discussions and speakers. We could organise events rather than a march, I think.
And a cup of tea,
And
absolutely.
and biscuits.
Last question,
Yeah.
Dr. Gewolb. In the next few years, where would you like to see things go for older workers? What specifically needs to change, both in the workplace and in society, to make sure that people over 70 are valued and included in the workforce?
I don't think anybody should be discounted because of their age if they've still got something to offer and they can be valuable and be effective in their jobs. And I don't think there's been this mindset of anybody over 50. It's actually, there's the door, or, we're working you towards retirement. We're not going to bother to train you anymore. My research showed that people over 50 weren't included in training programs, or they were being patronized, and sort of, allowed more time to complete tasks. And it was people used to get quite upset. And I think we need to change the mindset that because you're older, there may be areas where you're not as quick and, physically, but we've got so much to offer that I think it needs to be a partnership between older people with experience and reliability and younger people who have got very, the ability to want to learn and to be able to work with an older partner. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Sheila, for once again sharing your very valuable insight and original world research, which backs it up, into the struggles and opportunities facing older workers. We'll definitely have you back again. And we are launching Golden Grafters Gen G now. And everybody, please, whatever your age, join us by subscribing, first of all, to my YouTube channel, Dr. Roger Gewolb, so at Dr. Roger Gewolb, and also join our Facebook community, which instructions will appear on the screen either as I'm saying this or shortly afterwards. And join in the discussions. And we're going to start having some get-togethers and meetings. And don't forget, it's all about supporting each other and challenging ageism and advocating for a real change. And that's just not for us oldies. It's also to bring benefits to our country here, which is really suffering. And in large part, as you can see today, from a real lack of knowledge of what to do and how things work. At least that's my opinion. That's the gospel according to Dr. Roger. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us again, and we will see you next week.